Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley voted later than usual in his usual polling place and remained focused on the future of local government in Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Rowley was upbeat about the solidity of his party's campaign and vision.
The Prime Minister arrived at the International School at 3:50 p.m. along with a mid-afternoon rush of voters to cast his ballot and was out minutes later. He said, like his experience at the West Moorings polling station, reports from around the country have described Monday's voting as easy and smooth. Dr. Rowley said it's been a typical local government decision day, with his early averages hovering between a 30 to 35% voter turnout. He gave an idea of what success would look like for the ruling party.
Government in the midterm in a local government election, holding on to what we have or not losing any significant ground, I would call that success. And if we pick up anything that beyond what we had before, I will call that great.
Looking forward, Dr. Rowley said the climate was ripe to begin the transition to a better managed local government framework. He underscored the importance of the lesser fancied national election.
Because there's provision in local government for direct participation with your town and city hall. And they are dealing with you at your personal level. Whereas the central government is dealing with you at the national level, setting the framework for the national things. So if we have local government functioning at a high level, well-resourced, with properly trained people, professional, good auditing, good transparency, good community involvement, that will contribute considerably in ameliorating this whole feeling that the electoral process is just a one-day thing.
The PNM put forward candidates in all 141 districts of the 14 municipal corporations. Dr. Rowley said the party has been steadily working toward the election.
Because we believe that we are the party that is committed to bring about modernization and a proper evolution in the growth of community management. And we are offering enthusiasm for devolution of authority to local government. We spent all the campaign literally educating the population on that policy, those initiatives, which have their foundations in our years of consultation, years of preparing the documentation, work in the parliament, support for it in the parliament, and today is the final exercise.
Jovan Ravello, TTT News.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar voted earlier today in South Trinidad. Ken Fuentes has more.
At just after 12 p.m., the opposition leader cast a ballot at the Hermitage Village Presbyterian School. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, while expressing satisfaction at the school where she cast her vote, said she was concerned about the process elsewhere.
If you ask me about concerns, we have an issue at the Gulfview Community Center in terms of the layout. I have other concerns. I made a complaint to the EBC about ballot boxes and envelopes that appear to be tampered with, especially for voters. They have admitted that there was a deviation from standard procedure. That was their response to me. But why is it that only the ballots relating to Grande and San Fernando were the ones that appear to be tampered with? As we all know, those are the two battleground regional corporations, and I remain very, very concerned about that process.
The opposition leader maintained her belief that election observers should have been present in Trinidad.
We will do whatever we can to get, democracy and transparency in this electoral process. We will do what we have to do, certainly. Okay? That is why we requested repeatedly. It's a hotly contested election. Repeatedly called for international observers. The Prime Minister has a different view. I totally disagree with that.
Kent Fuentes, TTT News.
In San Fernando, there were no long lines outside polling stations, but the flow of voters was steady into San Fernando Central Secondary, San Fernando West Secondary, and the Monrepo Regional Complex as the electorate showed up to cast their votes in the 2023 local government elections. Terry-Ann Brown-Campbell has the story.
The sun blazed down and the voters showed up to have their say in who will govern the city of San Fernando for the next 4 years. TTT News caught up with Rural Development and Local Government Minister Faris Al-Rawi when he showed up to cast his ballot at San Fernando West Secondary with his mother, Dian Sukaran.
We're seeing right now traditional turnout. You know that from the 3 o'clock push you get a heavier point, and then golden hour 4 to 5, 5 to 6 at golden hour, you see more. Thank the Lord we've been blessed with good weather, but of course the EBC has distinguished itself in this run-up so far.
The minister said he visited all 9 polling stations in the city and had received no negative reports from the EBC officials manning those stations.
You must remember that an election result has a consequence. Come Tuesday, as Minister of Rural Development, Local Government, there will be swearing-in ceremonies to happen across all 14 corporations. We're in the middle of reform that still has to be delivered in its position point, so there's work going on. One shower that is cast upon us could result in disaster management units. The logistics and workings of government have to continue.
Earlier in the day, TTT News spoke with the PNM's candidate for Lesotho East, Sipero, Riyad Hussein, and the candidate for Marabella South, Vistabella, Marcus Gidari. Both candidates were accompanied by Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries and the PNM's coordinator for San Fernando, Kazim Hussein. Terry Ann Brown-Campbell, TTT News.
A few hiccups and issues paired with persons trickling into polling stations were the order of the day in Sangre Grande on Monday. Sunil Lala has the details.
Well, it's been very slow voting in Sangre Grande. Even when the polls open at 6 a.m., there were just a handful of people waiting to enter the Sangre Grande Hindu School and several of the other polling stations we visited. Now, several of the candidates going up for the area are hopeful that there would be an improved turnout as the day progresses.
Usually on a morning time, it's like this, but it builds up during the course of the day. You see, after 2, then you'll get the bulk of the turnout. But for this morning, what was impressive is that the persons who was going to vote was people that I knew personally.
You know, it's somewhere around 44% on LGE, right? And well, we expect as is, and you know, there may be a lot of more people turning out.
And the low voter turnout was also echoed by several voters, including a woman who lives mere meters away from a polling station.
Well, so far the turnout poor. I don't know what will go on later on the day. Yes, so very slow, very slow.
But so far I see like it low. I see like it low.
So far?
Yeah, yes. I hardly seen people there so far. I know later it might come up plenty, but I hardly see people there so far.
TTT News came across one incident in close proximity to a polling station, the Sangre Grande Secondary School, where an argument ensued between 2 men, one brandishing a cutlass, less than 50 meters away. Police were eventually called in and held one man and later questioned others about the incident. An MP for Toko Sangre Grande, Roger Monroe, who cast his ballot at a Guayco government primary school, said he was also informed of a particular incident.
I was just informed that the opponent to our candidate in the Manzalina Fishing Pond area is canvassing outside the school, one of those schools in Manzan. Earlier on today, we had the same similar situation happening in the Sangre Grande Northwest area.
Sonolala, TTT News.
Like most of the electoral districts across Trinidad, voting was steady within the San Juan Laventille region. More from Mahalia Joseph Wharton.
Candidate for Barataria Kimberly Small said the voting process was efficient and added that the turnout has been steady.
I am seeing a lot of the voters, a lot of the persons that I'm very familiar with, especially from early this morning, so from about 6, about 8, there was a steady flow of my Burgesses. I would have seen them, I know the faces, so I wouldn't say that from what I have seen in Barataria, I wouldn't say that there's been a low turnout, no.
The PNM's candidate for El Socorro Aranguez North Karina Nanan shared similar sentiments but had one concern.
There's a few posters by political candidates that are, as you can see right behind me, that are very near to the school. But other than that, I think that there are no really issues I've heard of thus far. And we just want to hope that we all practice a very fair and just electoral process. At the end of the day, we are one love, one country, and for everybody to just do their part.
The voters who spoke to TTT all expressed that the process was effortless.
It went smooth, simple as usual. Yeah, since in 86 I voted. I think it changed, organized itself a little more now.
So, Mr. Jadu, how did the voting process go for you?
I find it was very simple and easy, and I get through very quiet and nice, simple, and it was very good.
It was good. It was quiet. Yeah.
It was good. It was smooth. No issues.
The Sawa Laventille region is divided into 14 electoral districts. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TDT News.